The human race is exceedingly young. 50,000 years, Homo sapiens appeared on planet Earth. So we are the generation that's coming of age when the planetary system has got enough awareness to see itself whole and begin to probe how we can be responsible for a whole system. So the first thing about the evolutionary perspective is that we must not be the slightest bit humiliated that we don't know how to do it. There's never been on planet Earth a generation that was required to do this. A planetary initiative for the world we choose. It's totally unprecedented. There's no school to go to find out how to do it. There is no discipline on it. We are inventing it. And we must have, in this evolutionary perspective, a great deal of compassion and humility that we're just barely learning. And it's natural that we don't know how to do it. Because the system didn't know it had to be done until maybe the last 20 years. So it's truly a new situation, and from an evolutionary perspective, it's not unnatural. It's perfectly natural that we've arrived at this point. All right, keeping in your mind's eye for a moment the universal environment that is nature, let us go back in time and take a very quick 15 billion year trip through our history. And from this perspective, we have to broaden the concept of history from just a few thousand years of human history all the way to see how nature has brought us from an original act of creation to us sitting here in this auditorium initiating the world we choose. The most recent thought is that about 15 to 20 billion years ago, the material universe began with an actual original act of creation. The first radical transformation on the spiral. Go along about 4.5 billion years ago, our solar system and Earth condensed, another loop on the spiral. About 3.5 billion years ago, the first single cell in the seas of Earth. Sentient consciousness on the scene, another turn on the spiral. About 800 million years ago, multicellular organisms, plants, animals, the biosphere began, another turn on the spiral. And then only 2 to 3 million years ago, the dawn of human consciousness comes into the scene, the next turn on the spiral. Now, as you go up that sweep of human history, from the evolutionary perspective, it is easy to see it as a continual pulse and thrust to transcend the limited consciousness of the creature, animal, human, towards something more. The entire thrust of human history can be seen as pulsing toward the next stage of evolution. About 6,000 years ago on this spiral, realize how recent that is, in Egypt, India, Greece, there began to be individuals in a state of expanded consciousness, cosmic consciousness, something beyond the waking state. And now what you see happening is on planet Earth, it's a single body, and you see this same irresistible tendency. And it gives you the clue that when that synthesis has completed itself, there will be, as there has been in those other spirals, a quantum leap in capacity. Another thing you see when you look at this spiral is you see what I think is the foundation of hope. You see that holism is inherent in the nature of reality. Nature has an irresistible tendency to form whole systems. There is no reason to assume it will stop with us. There is no reason to assume that the force that has been operating to transform for 15 billion years would stop here on planet Earth and say, okay, it's all over now, and it's up to you alone. There is no reason to assume that we are not operating with the same organizing intelligence. Call it God if you're spiritual, call it the patterns of evolution if you're evolutionary. Call it nothing if you don't believe in anything. The witness that we have been given through this miracle of the discovery of our past is that nature has this incredible capability to transform through forming more complex whole systems with the characteristic of higher consciousness, greater freedom, and greater order. All right, if you remember in our spiral, we're now realizing that 6,000 years ago, there began to be the awareness on planet Earth that something new is coming. This awareness in individuals who might be considered evolutionary mutations or quantum leap individuals, harbingers of the new species that we are becoming, came into Earth and experienced ourselves as connected to each other, to nature, and to the Creator. And they basically founded the religions of the world, which are at the root of the civilizations of the world. And imprinted in every civilization and in every religion of the world is a vision of the future which looks to me like the next stage of evolution. You can call it nirvana, paradise, the New Jerusalem, the promised land, the new heaven and the new earth. I think we'll find that the religions were the ancient futurists. They first perceived through experience that something new was coming. However, most of us were not yet in the state of consciousness that could experience that. So the institutions formed around this awareness and divided into the various religions and civilizations as we now know it, because the human race was suffering from a fatal flaw, it seems to me, that could be fatal. The flaw is the illusion of separation. It seems to me that something went wrong early on. And we gained this enormous intellect and this powerful genius with a slight defect, which is we forgot we were connected. And in every myth of the world, there is some story about something that happened that disconnected us, whether it's the serpent or something that came in and intruded. Okay, so we've been developing this powerful capability with the illusion of separation. Our religions came in and told us we were one, experienced the oneness, but the average human being has not and still has not been able to hold the consciousness that we are whole. We know it, but we can't hold it. And that we almost are schizophrenic, because when we know it, it's obvious, and when we're out of it, it's disaster. Now, what happened through this tremendous perception of those early humans that experienced broader consciousness than the creature human consciousness is that civilization was seeded with the dream of a new age. And particularly in the Judeo-Christian culture, it was seeded with a historical vision that a time would come in history when collectively we shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. Now, it's fascinating to me from an evolutionary point of view that seems to be one of the most precise intuitions of a quantum leap that has ever been written. That there will be a series of dislocations, tribulations, a radical selection process, and when it's all over, there will be only those connected to God. And those who are connected to God will be in a new state of being. They will have no more physical death. They will be in a community of evolved beings. The former things shall be passed away. Now, when I first read about that in the Bible, I thought that was like a fairy tale. But when I related it to what I know about evolution, I realized, if you look back, there are no more dinosaurs. There are no more mastodons. There's no more early Earth with a planet that has no biosphere. Evolution actually does cause radical newness and radical extinctions. All right, the story gets very interesting because given these templates of all the religions, but especially the Judeo-Christian, and the Judeo-Christian is fascinating to me because it says that through obedience to God, we shall transform the material world. It does not go into an impersonal, it goes into a transformation of the personal until you end up with an actual new world and a new person. It's an absolutely fascinating expectation. What happened, based, I believe, on these religious perceptions of transformation, is that the human race set about actually doing it. And in modern times, let's say the last 300 years, with the development of science, technology, and democracy, we are at the threshold of acting out the dreams of the ages. Because when you look at science and technology, what it amounts to is the human brain's capacity to understand the processes and laws of nature sufficiently well to become co-creative with them. Into the hands of the self-centered species are coming the powers of co-creation. It's inevitable because they're there and the mind is designed to know them. But we're approaching it in the self-centered state. There's the terrible danger. The second great tool of transformation, of actually acting it out, I believe, is democracy. Imperfect as it is, what it has said to us is that all people are created equal, endowed by their Creator with inalienable rights. That idea has unlocked the human individual potential on planet Earth to the degree that, combined with science, the emancipated individual potential, combined with the tools of science and technology, have hit an evolutionary jump point, which is going to have the characteristics either of a disgraceful jump, as in some of the negative prophecies, or, and here I think is the really new possibility, a graceful leap. What about a graceful shift? It started, I think we can mark our own turn on the spiral in 1945. When the atom bomb fell, we were signaled with the fact that the self-centered species had gained the power of co-creation. And it was now through freedom, and there seems to me to be genuine freedom inherent in the evolutionary system. We had gained the freedom either to be processed by some terribly negative events which would eventually lead to a new stage of evolution, or go willingly into the light. Now, the feeling that I have had in the last years, and I think it would be what most of us feel here, is that there has been a rise of consciousness on Earth in the last generation, so that we now have a critical mass of human individuals who know we are one peoples of Earth. And we are spread through every nation, through every culture, and through every religion. And we're just barely becoming self-aware as a state of consciousness on planet Earth. What has been in the past the great mystics and the unique seers and saints of the human race is gradually being normalized in millions and millions of us at an increasingly rapid rate, so that the way the world hangs in a balance for me, the cosmic drama is, will the critical mass connect soon enough and shift the consciousness field of Earth so we go gently into the next stage of evolution? Or will we not, and will we go disgracefully through some kind of breakdown scenario? That's right where we hang now.